Live.
All right, here we are, episode 76 of the Game Set Match podcast in the sports section.
Oh, snap.
Tonight, just Corey and I,
Mm.
another duo of us. How
Yeah.
you doing tonight, Corey?
Doing well, sir. How are you?
Doing well. Long time no talk, no see.
Yeah, I've been away for a little bit, but I'll be back around more often, at least on the sports.
All right, okay. So, not a lot going on in the sports world, but we do want to start off on a kind of somber note. Sending our condolences out to former defensive end of the New Orleans Saints family, Will Smith. Seems like he was in a car accident, and then there was a altercation of some sort, of which him and his wife were shot. Him fatally, his wife just wounded. I don't think she passed away from the last report that I read. But a very tragic incident. So we definitely, from the Game Set Match podcast, send out our condolences to him and his family. Any words on that, Corey?
It's kind of shocking because all off season long, for the most part, it's been quiet on the Western Front, so to proverbially speak, and it's just really, it's unfortunate, it's tragic, and I don't think there's enough time to appropriately say everything that could be said. I think we should take a further podcast down the road to kind of cover some of that, but definitely condolences, thoughts, and prayers to Will Smith's family, particularly his wife and his kids. So, yeah.
So, moving on to our go to the week to kind of cheer up everybody here, and we're going to be positive from here on out. Go to the week goes to the Denver Broncos. And here's why it goes to the Denver Broncos. They have not had a good offseason since winning the Super Bowl. They've lost their Hall of Fame quarterback in Peyton Manning, which we all saw coming. So it's not that's not a surprise.
They were gonna cut him. Let's be real.
Yeah. So that's not the shocker here. They did lose several people on defense. Some people going to the Jaguars, I know, and other various teams around the league. But they also lost Brock Osweiler to the Houston Texans, who signed a pretty lucrative deal for the Texans. I believe it was 4 years, about $30 million.
Sounds right.
For someone who started 6 games and did average at best, overpaying for a quarterback maybe, but Houston hasn't really had a good quarterback since the franchise has really come into existence. So I can understand why they would pay top dollar to get what most believe to be the top free agent out there. So they don't have a quarterback. So in their search for quarterback, they passed on RG3, as most teams did who signed with the Browns, which I thought would have been a pretty good fit for RG3 and the team. You get somebody who's proven that he could do it at this level. He hasn't done it in the past couple years, but at least you're getting somebody who has flashes and instances of what they can do. Then a report broke this week that the report is that they contacted Mr. One Johnny Manziel, and there were such talks saying there potentially could be a spot for him on this team. This is the same Johnny Manziel that did not take football seriously in Cleveland and, partied on the last couple weeks of the season, got suspended numerous times, and can't keep his name out of the news. And who I thought, and I said it on this podcast, that he would get another shot. And I didn't think it would be the Super Bowl champions to take a shot at him. Do you have anything for the Broncos?
Is Vinny Testaverde unavailable?
Right.
I don't.
I would take almost any. I don't get it. So,
dear Denver Broncos, go to the draft, blow your top pick on getting a quarterback. Get a second or third. Reach for a quarterback with your 32. Pick 32 versus signing Johnny Manziel and wasting your money.
Yeah, It baffles me. I don't understand how this for the past couple of years, when you look at the team they've constructed, you look at the front office and you're like, wow, they've done a really great job with constructing the Super Bowl team and kind of keeping them consistent, keeping the core there. But when you look at just this quarterback carousel that they've gone through since Peyton Manning announced his retirement, you lost Peyton Manning, which we talked about. You lost Brock Osweiler. You didn't want RG3 for whatever reasons. You said there were questions about his character. Basically, I'm sure they talked to Mike Shanahan about that, and I'm sure nothing positive came out of his mouth about that.
Mike Shanahan.
And then you have this cloud over your head with Colin Kaepernick, who again would be a great fit, but you want to slide him on the money. Again, another quarterback who last year granted, if you take away, a Jim Harbaugh from a team and you give him Jim Tom Sula, whoever that is, and wherever he is now, I'm sure you would have the same results that he had last year. So I can't completely fault Kaepernick for his performance last year. But again, a quarterback that is completely willing and able to want to go to the team, just pay him his money. But you don't want to pay him. You want him to take a $14 million pay cut over 1 year, which I wouldn't do either. He's guaranteed $12 million right now, and you want to pay him $7 million.
Yeah,
I would stay where I'm at too. And then you're reaching out to a quarterback who, outside the fact that he's had just flashes of something, he's not really proven that he can play the quarterback position. And then he has a lot of off the field issues that he has inner demons that he can't seem to handle. And this is what you want, helming your quarterback, your Super Bowl team. You still have pretty much a Super Bowl defense with Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware. They're still leading the team. And that's what you want to put behind center and running your offense. To me, it's confusing. I'm not seeing where they're going with this plan.
You know what it is? Here's what I think. I think that they vastly overestimated the loyalty of players to the team. That's what I think. I think they thought that they were a shoo-in to get Brock Osweiler because they sat him behind Peyton Manning, and that's got to be valuable. And just he's willing to be the hometown boy, and even though I don't think he's even from Colorado, but
yeah,
where is Brock Osweiler from?
I don't know. He went to Arizona. He went to Arizona State for college. I remember that because I followed him when he was in college. But continue your point, and I'll go ahead and look up where he's.
Yeah, but I mean, the bottom line is, it seems like the Broncos have made the mistake of just assuming everyone. How best to word this? Here you go. Here's a fun one. This will piss a lot of people off. They thought they were the New England Patriots. That's what they did. They thought the loyalty was there. They thought that people would take the pay cuts to be part of the team. And I hate to say it, but they vastly underestimated the call of being wanted and of being paid. Because they, as you said, they burned Kaepernick. They were like, well, we want you, but not for $12 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
And he was just, it comes down to, what did that one guy say on YouTube? There's a famous guy who does a lot of motivational talks, and it's fuck you, pay me. It's just like,
yeah,
you have to be willing to pay somebody. But if you're so desperate that you're reaching out to Johnny Manziel, I would rather see them go sign a veteran quarterback, because Lord knows there's plenty of guys out there.
Well, not to mention the only quarterback they did pull a trade off, and again, I'm still questioning it. They traded the Eagles for Mark Sanchez. So if they were, before I go on, Brock Osweiler from Montana, so
not too far away.
Yeah, not too far away. So. But if you have Mark Sanchez, he's right now the only. I think him and whoever you have on the practice squad are the only people under contract that can play quarterback on your team. And then you sign somebody like Johnny Manziel. Going into your preseason game number 1, your quarterback battle is Mark Sanchez versus Johnny Manziel.
That sounds like the Eagles last year.
I mean,
but is Tim Tebow not available? Didn't he win a playoff?
That's what I'm saying. Like, call up Tim Tebow at this point and let him come out there. It'll be just like the Eagles last year. I'm like, it just baffles me. And this further goes to show that my intuition about Gary Kubiak is right. He's not nobody wants it. That's not a selling point, because if that was a selling point, they wouldn't have lost as many players. You're not going to tell me that people are going to, hey, we have Gary Kubiak as a coach. We're going to make sure we get you to a Super Bowl. No, they were there for one reason. And they knew Peyton Manning could get them eventually to a Super Bowl. He got them to that Super Bowl. And now he retired, and then people were like, you know what? I see money out there. I just came from a Super Bowl winning team. I have that leverage over other teams. Teams are going to want me. Teams like the Jaguars who haven't had success. The Texans who haven't had success. So they're going to throw money at people because, you know what? Yeah, you're right. You have a Super Bowl. Why don't you bring whatever you learned from Peyton Manning and that championship pedigree and bring it to our team, and maybe we can recreate that greatness.
Absolutely. And I'm on NFL's website right now. I'm looking at their free agents. The top quarterback in this free agency this year was Brock Osweiler. He was the number 13th ranked player in free agency, and he is signed. And I am scrolling down this list, and the next quarterback right now is, guess what? Ryan Fitzpatrick, who the
That-
Jets haven't been able to sign. And he would be the perfect guy to sit there for a couple of years, mentor whatever new guy you have, make sure
Yeah.
you like the new guy and you're going to sign the new guy. Oh, my God. You know what it is they need to do? They need to bring back Peyton Manning as a quarterback's coach.
Yeah.
And that would probably alter the course of their play. That's the only thing I could think of at this point because and we could go on and on and on. I'm going to cut it here. I could rant for forever. I'm so baffled by their idea of what they thought they could do versus the actuality of execution.
Yeah, and this eerily reminds me of Chip Kelly from last year when we were talking about this. They have some sort of plan, but we're not seeing it, and I want to see how it plays out.
Indeed.
We saw how the Chip Kelly saga ended with the Eagles this year, not very well, and this seems to be going down that same kind of track. Because if you can't secure a quarterback, that's a big issue. So Denver Broncos are go to the week, taking the reins from me. I've had it for the past couple of weeks. We're pushing it onto the Denver Broncos. So, from one champion to another, the Golden State Warriors, trying to make some history this year. They're chasing the Bulls' 72-10 record. Currently, as we speak, they're playing the Spurs at the Spurs, who are also going for a record of a perfect home record for the NBA season. I believe they are 39-0.
That sounds 40. Yeah, that sounds correct.
They can't have more than 1 or 2 games at home left for the Spurs. And implications on the line. I think Golden State has pretty much wrapped up the number 1 seed after they beat the Spurs just on Friday night. But right now, as we speak, they're playing. It's 30-31. The Spurs are leading with about 2:30 left in the second quarter.
Wow.
But with the Warriors, let's concentrate on the Warriors here. We talked a lot about this early on, and we've kind of been tracking it as they've been doing this. And I've kind of taken back and switched my stance on it. I much said early on in the podcast that if they were going after this record, I didn't think they could get to the finals. I've taken back, and I think just from seeing them play and some of the games they lost have been, I'm not too worried about it. But I think they're a shoe-on favorite to win the finals because they don't look tired. They don't look like they're not banged up. They're going to be pretty healthy going into the playoffs. So unless something drastic happens in the next couple days before the regular season's over, then that might change my stance. But I want to hear from you. What has your stance changed on it? Because I know we were kind of on the same page. If they got the record, they wouldn't get to the finals.
I'm concerned because they look great right now, and let's face it, this team is the hottest team we've seen probably since the Bulls.
Yeah.
Like just thinking about it, I honestly think this team is the hottest team we've seen since the Michael Jordan era Bulls. I can't think of another team as dominant. The only team that kind of comes close is the Miami Heat with I take it back. There are two teams that come to mind with just sheer dominance. And that's the Miami Heat with the big three. And then you also had the Shaq and Kobe Lakers.
Yeah.
Were actually pretty darn dominant when they were working together and not fighting and stuff.
Yeah.
But I still worry.
Okay.
Because I think they push themselves harder than they normally would if they weren't gunning for that 73-win record. And I think they make it to the finals. I just think that they're going to have pushed themselves too hard, and I think they're going to be vulnerable. Whether or not that matters in the end, we'll find out. But I do think they're not going to be as dominant in the playoffs as we are used to seeing them during the regular season.
Yeah, I think pretty much last year, I think they were perfect at home. I think they lost 2 games at home in the playoffs, one to the Memphis Grizzlies, who they had lost to in the regular season last year. Joe's now joining us. How are you doing, Joe? Doesn't look like he's quite set up yet. But they lost to Memphis last year, one to the regular season. I know they lost once during the playoffs. I think the Spurs were another team to beat them as well, at least once last year. And then they kind of just skated. And then Cleveland, beat them once, and then they traded it off, obviously, to win the title there in Cleveland. I think they're a shoe-in for the Western Conference, just because I don't see the only teams that I think could give them a problem are either the only team really is the Spurs when I think about it, because the Clippers I don't think have that. They don't have that edge they had last year. They're too up and down. Blake Griffin's been out for a really long time. He just is now coming back, so it's going to take some time to adjust. And I don't think the time to adjust is the playoffs to start adjusting. They should already be ready to go. The Warriors, I think, a lot of these games, they're getting everybody's best shot. They know they're going for the record. So I think that changes when you get to the playoffs. When you get to the playoffs, they're playing. I don't have the standings right in front of me, but I believe they'd be playing somebody either Utah or Dallas in the first round. I'll double check that. So I don't think they have a problem, and anybody that comes from the East, I don't think even stands a chance against them. Just there's no one that can match their scoring output. So I'm interested to see where they go. Do you think they will get the record? That's the question here.
Who do they have left on the schedule?
So tonight they have the Spurs. They have 2 games left tonight,
okay,
which is the Spurs, which right now, just a quick update, they're tied 33-33 a little bit before halftime, and then they have Memphis on Tuesday, who they just played last night and barely squeaked out a win in Memphis. They only won by 1.
And they have to win out. That's right?
Yeah, they lost to Minnesota. They had a really bad loss to Minnesota earlier this week.
And they had a loss they lost twice in a very short span. And
they lost 2 and 3 games. They lost to Minnesota, and then
yep,
they lost to. Oh man, I'm blanking on the team they lost to. It was like a couple nights before.
Yeah, but okay. So my biggest concern is that we saw them stumble twice very, very quickly.
Okay.
And then B, the other thing that I'm worried. Obviously, if they lose tonight, they lose.
Yeah.
The record, but can they do it? Sure. I don't see why not. I'm very curious to see how tired they're going to be tomorrow. Is it tomorrow they play? They turn around and play again tomorrow, right?
No, they played last night. They played. This is the second of a back-to-back. They have a rest tomorrow, and I think their next game is Wednesday night.
Okay. If that's the case, if they win tonight. The momentum is carrying. I could see them winning I could see them doing it very easily with a rest.
Okay.
Give themselves a couple of days. Yeah, barring a collapse tonight and them losing to the Spurs. Yeah, I would stick with that. I think they get the record barely by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah. I think Wednesday will be tougher than they think because like I said, they played Memphis last night, and Memphis, they barely squeaked it out. Granted, it was in Memphis. This one will be in Golden State, so they have that aura in Golden State. But the crowd's going to be buzzing. It's going to be playoff atmosphere type basketball. But I think it will be tougher because Memphis seemed like they had the formula to beat them last night. I think they got jobbed on a couple of calls at the end of the game that should have gone the other way. There was a shot by Lance Stevenson at the end where he clearly got fouled. No foul was called, so they had the benefits of that. And, anytime there's a team this good and there's people with this much publicity on a really good team, people always question the refs. But there were some questionable calls last night. So I think if some of those go the other way, might be a different story. So I think it all bars on tonight, though. Tonight, I think, is the toughest game because Greg Popovich usually in this situation sits his players. This close to the playoffs, he's sitting starters. The only starter he sat today
he wants that momentum, baby.
Yeah, the only starter he sat today was Tim Duncan. But the last time Tim Duncan sat between those two, the Warriors blew them out by 40. So we'll see exactly what happens. Joe looks like he's still getting set up there, so we'll continue on. Continuing to talk about greatness. We were talking a little bit before we went on air here. About an hour and a half ago, I think we were going to have a real greatness conversation. I still think we should have it for Jordan Spieth, who seemed to link from last year's Masters, kind of came back to Augusta this year with a vengeance, and for 3 rounds and 11 holes, he had it. He was leading from end to end, from wire to wire, as they say. But on the 12th hole of the final round today, he gets a quadruple bogey and loses the Masters.
Can we say that he probably had a little bit of his favorite drink, and that would be Coca-Cola?
You could say that. Coca-Cola was definitely present at Augusta National today. So he, like I said, quad bogeys on the 12th.
That's one of my favorite beverages, by the way.
The Coca-Cola?
Yes.
Coca-Cola?
Oh, there it is. There he is.
Hi, everyone.
Joe has arrived.
I have.
There you go.
You wouldn't believe how fast I put together my man card so I could build this desk. It's the fastest I've ever built something in my life.
Yeah, he's working hard for the podcast, guys. Just so he can
Hey.
be here with you.
Exactly. I grinded. Got the new mic, the pop
Yeah.
filter.
Feeling stupendous now?
I'm feeling stupendous today.
But let's talk about Jordan Spieth. Outside that 12th hole, he had a couple of other bumps and bruises. But do you think this is the next great golfer that we're seeing? Is this the next quote? I hate to say this because I don't want him to go down the same road.
Don't do
But
it.
is this the Tiger the next Tiger that everybody's
it
talking
is.
about?
Oh,
Is this the next Tiger that everybody's talking about?
damn it.
Honest answer, I don't think it's the next Tiger. I think he's the next great golfer. But I think what we've learned is that great golfers are their timestamps that you can't really figure out. Because Rory was the next great golfer.
Thank you. I was
Yeah,
just
and he
going to say, what
decided
I was
to
going to
date
say the
someone.
same thing. I was
And
going
he
to say the same
decided
thing.
to date someone, and it all went down the drain.
Yeah.
damn it, McElroy. What were you thinking?
Sergio was a great golfer, but then he became the Charles Barkley of that era, where he just won nothing because Tiger Woods existed.
Yeah.
So I think he's the next great golfer, but I don't know if you're going to see someone like a Tiger Woods, especially for the time frame by which he did it.
Mm-hmm.
He's great. I don't know if I would enter that category yet, because I've seen more great golfers kind of settle out and flatline than I have take that next step or that next level.
And the reason why I asked that question in that sense is because Jordan Spieth seems to have this buzz that, Rory McIlroy is the only other person that I remember kind of since Tiger having that was supposed to be the next person with that kind of buzz. There are other great golfers on the tour. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think they have the buzz that those two carry. Rory, obviously, you've seen has dropped off and really didn't pan out to be. But Jordan Spieth he has this buzz, and his play is seeming to back it up in each tournament. He's not winning every tournament, but it seems to be there. Like I said, today, if you take that 12th hole out and he gets a par, he wins the tournament. So that's why I draw that comparison, and maybe is that the next great thing that we're looking for down the road? Corey, what do you think?
Sorry, trying to compile my thoughts here. I think when it comes to the media, we're very eager to crown the next, let's just call it big thing, big person, big team, big group. We're very eager to look at our former heroes or heroes of the past and equate someone to them.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's not. It's not, because it brings up a marker and identifier to kind of push things forward. But the flip is that you now have all these expectations. When Rory McIlroy had a number one golfer in the world, and Jordan Spieth, who was on fire. When you start getting these labels, you start, because I'll be honest with you, I'm not really a heavy golf fan. I am a very casual golf fan at best. I don't even golf. So, and that's mainly because I'm terrible at it. But when it comes down to it, I hear things like, people say Jordan Spieth is, the next Tiger Woods. Can he be the next great thing? And I'm like, wow, this guy must be really good. And then he goes and chokes. Now, to be fair, he had the green jacket last year, so how many golfers can say that, really? But I don't think we're ever going to see anything like Tiger for a long, long time. I think Tiger was just that amazing athlete in the right place at the right time, and I just don't think that the level of competition in his era was as closely tuned and as close. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it was very, very much so he signaled the changing of eras, much in the way that Ronda Rousey signaled the changing of eras, and really shifted focus towards a very diverse and inclusive golf setting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Tiger, for his time was great, but I think you've seen it in the past, 8 years when Tiger's healthy, which is a huge if at this point these days, but when he's healthy, he's not winning. And the reason for that is because there are a lot of good golfers out there today. And that's kind of my point, is that I think the field is much more level than it used to be.
Yeah.
I think part of that is because of Tiger.
Yeah.
Remember, part of that was because, a Tiger essentially fell off, and it gave us an opportunity to see just how good some of these golfers were. Now, with that being said, I think it's going to be a while before we attach ourselves, because golf is it's a popular sport and it's a big sport, but it's not the sport where we go consistently looking for someone. Golf is kind of a reactionary sport. Someone wins, and then we talk about, is Jordan Spieth the next Tiger? It's only after Jordan Spieth wins 2 or 3, it's a little tougher to kind of place that. It's not like basketball where someone like LeBron James coming out of high school is gonna be great, really great. So I think it's always gonna be a long-term effect before we're actually able to kind of attach ourselves to someone.
Okay, and I can respect that. I definitely agree with you, Corey, that I think the balance has leveled out in terms of the talent level. And I do think that I think he's going to be the next kind of big thing of golf, to kind of take that popularity and kind of transcend the game. The way he handles himself with the media attention that he's gotten over the past year and a half since his kind of break on scene since last year's Masters has been great. And he fought, like I said, the biggest thing to me is he gets that media criticism or whatever you want to call it, and his play is backing it up. He comes, like I said, you take out that 12th hole today, that quad bogey, and he wins this tournament, and he wins it from wire to wire.
Sure. Maybe we're just jaded exes. We've been hurt so much by Tiger and by Rory and by all these guys. Maybe we can't trust again.
Yeah.
I don't want to put my heart to anyone.
As long as no one's driving cars into trees, I think we're good.
Oh, God.
That's what I'm doing.
Come on.
All right, speaking of cars, we're going to move to the Octagon.
Wah,
wah, wah, wah.
Can I just say, I am on fire for predictions this month. I am on fire.
What was the prediction? Wait. What was the prediction?
He predicted that John Jones would be in some legal trouble again before the fight, and that he would get pulled out. Now he did get in legal trouble, but he's not pulled out of the fight.
He's not pulled out of the fight.
Yeah, Daniel Cormier is actually pulled out of the fight with a leg injury.
Yeah, I totally didn't see that coming. Oh my God.
And then, on a quick side, this is not even I didn't want to talk about that fight. I wanted to talk about the women's side, but then they had a Twitter battle. And, John Jones called him out for being a coward, and Daniel Cormier said he wasn't a coward, and he would fight him anytime. And I'm like, does anybody remember that the last time they fought, John Jones, dominated him, and it wasn't a close fight? So I don't think Daniel Cormier really has room to talk trash, because the last time you fought him, you didn't look too good.
Daniel Cormier needs to, what's the word I'm looking for? Shut up!
I'm not following where he's getting all this confidence, he's beat him a couple times, and this was a rubber match or anything like that. So, but going on to the women's side. So a couple weeks ago we had Miesha Tate, Holly Holm. Miesha Tate kind of quote unquote, I guess you can call it, shocking the world and beating Holly Holm in a 5-round bout, kind of choking her out in the waning moments of the 5th round. Becomes the bantamweight champion. So UFC 200 coming up, which Dana White has been building up to be this big spectacle.
Yeah.
I think is falling short of that, especially with some of the matchups that they had. Their headliner, I think, is McGregor Diaz again.
Yeah.
Okay.
So so real quick.
Yeah.
The only issue I have with this whole thing, because I don't have a lot of issue with it, is we said, so clearly, I will say this, I'm a little disappointed that Connor does not listen to our show, because we said on this program, look, Connor, if you want to fight him again, that's fine. I don't know if I would go cutting weight to get there.
Yeah. But go defend your belt first, you fuck.
Exactly.
They're fighting at the same class that they fought the first time.
Well, it's pride. That's ego. That is ego all the way, and he's gonna get smacked down again because he fought the first fight. No matter how hard you train, you've spent your life fighting guys that are 3 weight classes below. You are not gonna all of a sudden in a couple of months. And maybe I'm wrong. it's definitely possible. I've been wrong before, but I doubt you're going to all of a sudden turn it around and be able to knock this. This guy's going to laugh at your punches again.
Yeah.
Because now he has time to train.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like Diaz took this fight on short notice last time and looked really good in the fight.
Sure.
And then now you're giving him 3 months to train for July.
Wouldn't you kind of say that both of them took this fight on short notice and Diaz just out? Is it more natural?
Diaz didn't have a camp at all. He had 3 weeks. They said, hey, Diaz, go ahead, take this fight. Conor McGregor had been training. Granted, it was for someone else, but he was in fight shape for the most part.
Was it fight shape for that weight class, though?
It was a weight class below, so he didn't have to. Usually, Conor goes through like a rigorous task to cut the weight to make it. This time, he didn't have to. He's fighting at his natural weight. He didn't have to cut weight. He didn't have to gain weight. It's just his natural weight. The reason why he kind of dominates that division is he's a natural lightweight, but he's fighting 2 weight classes below. So his power it's more powerful than anybody that's stepping in the ring with him, really.
So now he's fighting someone that's technically speaking, based on the way he does it, a weight class above.
Correct.
Exactly. Right. So you're fighting someone who has equal, if not more, power than you, and that's what he realized. He said it in the after-fight interview that, I punched him and I realized, he can take a punch. Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, Diaz has gotten beat up in fights, and he just likes to fight. So I don't know what you were expecting. Yeah. So I don't know what the difference is.
I guess it's just astonishing that he would take the same fight under the same circumstances in the same way and expect the result to be different.
Yeah.
Now this is for the title, correct?
No, this is just
still not for the title?
Just a fight. They're not in the same, so his title is 2 weight classes below.
Okay.
Nick Diaz isn't going to cut that much weight to get a title.
Okay.
Yeah, he wants to get a title shot in his own weight class, but not for McGregor's. But it is a pride thing. It is a pride thing. But Miesha Tate, so she wins the championship. You would think, okay, UFC 200, here's your chance. You can have some blockbuster matchups. You can have Miesha Tate Rousey. You can have Miesha Tate home, too. Or you can have Rousey home. That's something that was suggested as well. But Miesha Tate faces Amanda Nunes.
Wah, wah, wah. Wah.
So
who's Amanda Nunes?
And that's exactly right there.
Here's my question, Corey. Explain to me what happens.
Wait. Is this the chick who lost that fight, and you were like?
I don't know. I have to go back and look. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember. I'm gonna look while I ask Corey this question.
Okay.
What happens theoretically if Amanda Nunes comes out and beats Miesha Tate and she wins this championship?
Oh my God!
What is the state of this division? I mean, it's not a bad thing because it's expanding division. You have more fighters, but now there's just this carousel and 4 fighters who, deservingly so, earn a shot at that title. What do you do in that circumstance?
So here's what I do. You have to have this woman's fight on the card. I'm a little bit mad that they didn't I think Miesha Tate's ducking. Miesha Tate was losing that fight and caught Holly Holm in a choke and managed by the skin of her teeth, using that phrase a lot tonight, managed to choke her out. Like just pure sheer determination, luck, and sticking with it to the very end instead of accepting defeat. Good on her. That deserves a rematch, in my opinion. And the fact that they're like, oh well, the reason we're not giving it to her is because she wasn't a long-reigning champion. She didn't even defend the belt. We feel Nunes is the better fight. She's on a win streak. It's like, no. She fought to give you that fight.
Yeah.
Technically they obviously don't owe her anything. But to me, that's just, I didn't really have a whole lot of respect for Miesha Tate because she never has conducted herself very well, in my opinion. She's very catty, I guess is the word I'll use. She's not very gracious.
Yeah.
In my opinion, when it comes to her interviews, she strikes me as very, I can't think of a good word, but she's very classless. I don't like the way she conducts herself. I don't like the way that she refers to things, and this just kind of proves it, in my opinion. Literally her excuse is, oh well, she didn't prove a thing. She risked everything and lost. To give you a fight. She could have sat on her butt, done a million media interviews, and prepped for Rousey in November.
Yeah.
And no one would have said a thing because, Rousey deserves a rematch. Yeah. So here's what I think. I'm hoping that Tate can hold on to the belt. I think that the logical fight in my mind is not Ronda Rousey coming back and fighting for the title. She lost that right when she decided to sit out for a year, and you know what? If she needed that, fine. I am not judging her for sitting out for a year, but I'm saying if you're going to be out of action that long and you're healed, then you need to come back in and prove yourself. So in my mind, what we get is home versus Rousey non-title fight, and then the winner of that goes after Miesha Tate.
Yeah, that's what I said. Thought. That's what I said. That's what UFC 200 should have been. And I get it. I think that wouldn't have happened regardless because Rousey said she wasn't coming back to November. Right. I always thought like if she would have came back and fought Miesha Tate, then she was ducking Holly Holm. But she clearly said once Miesha Tate won, she said, all right, not till November. So I know she's standing by her word and saying, okay, I'm not coming back till November. But that's what I thought should have been the plan of action. If you couldn't get that to happen, then it needed to be Miesha Tate, Holly Holm too at UFC 200 because that potentially can make a lot more money than Amanda Nunes. And by the way, Amanda Nunes was the fighter at the post. I think it was UFC 195 at the post interview who was calling out Miesha Tate after she had won on a unanimous decision against another nobody. So it's like, why? Who are we just? We're just giving fights to people essentially. That's what you're doing, and you're calling that okay? I don't know. Joe, do you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, I feel like this is an opportunity to define that. This isn't, in my opinion, this is an opportunity to define the women's division.
Yeah.
And I actually think you're teetering on the possibility of it being a bad thing. If Nunes wins the title, then essentially the issue you have is that you don't really have that fighter that people look to be the dominant fighter in your class. Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that makes the men's division so great is that you have those people like Conor McGregor, what Ronda Rousey was. And when you knock them down, it's by a person by Nate Diaz that has a large following. Mm-hmm. But when the title changes hands multiple times, I think the issue you run into is that at the end of the day, you don't really have a definitive bracket or tier system. You just have like a bunch of fighters that you don't really know who stacks well against the other. So you have all these hypotheticals. So essentially if Nunes wins, people are going to go, well, now we have to take Nunes and put her over here. Now we have to see who's the best out of these three fighters. And it becomes a lot of hypotheticals that if Dana White's not going to put them in the octagon at the same time, then you end up, it ends up being a disadvantage. In my opinion, I think you lose that luster of having a definitive system in place. You can have someone lose and be good, but I think when it changes hands too much, you know, boxing is not interesting if Floyd Mayweather lost and it went to Manny Pacquiao, and then Pacquiao lost and it went to Timothy Bradley, and then Timothy Bradley lost and it went to some other person, and then that person lost and it went to some other person, because now you're questioning every single person. There's nothing really definitive, and I think sometimes having those seasons of a definitive nature is good. Having a loss from time to time is great, but I think if it's too much, you end up losing out a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think people tend to forget this, that Ronda Rousey is still the best fighter in this division. She had one bad fight, and I think I think Holly Holm is everything she did not want to see. Holly Holm does everything well. Holly Holm does everything well that Ronda Rousey is weak at. That's why she dominated that fight. Ronda Rousey, we always knew that, she rushed in. Holly Holm can destroy her. Holly Holm is a Olympic not Olympic boxer, but she's a world-renowned boxer.
Yeah.
So that's her game plan. But I think we've seen it multiple times. She's beaten Miesha Tate. Ronda Rousey has. Amanda Nunes, I think she would wipe the floor with her. She wasn't, like I said, I watched that fight. She wasn't anything impressive to say, oh, well, she deserves this title shot. So I think the UFC has a problem. If Amanda somehow wins this fight and beats Miesha Tate, the UFC has a problem on its hands. Because now you have four fighters of, who really deserves this title, and how do you figure out to give people their proper rematches? Because Holly Holm said it at the post-match interview. If she could fight tomorrow, she would. So I don't know. There had to be some miscommunication or something with the camps, because I don't understand why Holly Holm wouldn't take that fight if it was offered to her.
So here's my thing. This is not necessarily. We're looking at this the wrong way. We're looking at this in a negative light, and rightfully so, because I do agree in some sense that it dilutes. If we're going title change, like it definitely dilutes it. But if Nunes wins the title, we automatically promote someone else, whoever else is on a win streak or whatever, and then we get to have a little mini tournament. You can literally do Miesha Tate versus whoever. Ronda Rousey versus Holm. The winner of that face each other. The winner of that gets to face the champ. We could, Dana could make some serious money basically doing a tourney, old school style. Maybe not in one night, maybe over the course of a couple, UFCs, but
a full women's card. That would be exciting. That would be
right.
Exciting.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
A full women's card.
Even if it starts out as like a fight night on fire, something.
Yeah.
I think you could. I think that there's potential there. That would be really awesome. Now that being said, I really hope Miesha Tate retains so we can. We can
not have this conversation.
Not have this conversation. But I think that if the crazy happens and Nunes wins, I say you go for a tournament and find her a number one contender.
Yeah. I don't know. UFC they might have a serious problem on their hands. If Miesha Tate retains, I think that's the best thing that could happen for that division. So, that's all I have. We're gonna say goodbyes here, and by goodbyes I mean we're gonna say goodbye to Kobe Bryant. He's playing. He scored 35 today, but they lost.
They just let him. Did they just let him? They also decided to get the ball, right?
Did they just let him?
But they lost. They lost 130 to 111. So
okay, so it wasn't 130 to 35. Okay, guys, Kobe Bryant has the ball. Don't touch it.
Yeah.
Let him do it. Go ahead.
He's on his farewell tour. I think his last game is Wednesday. But there were people, would you believe this, on Twitter complaining because they're not televising Kobe's last game, and they're televising the Warriors' last game because they're going for the record, and people are like, oh, I can't believe that. Well, do you really want to watch old Kobe shoot 40 shots and make 3 of them? Like, that's not exciting basketball.
Nah, bro.
Or them just hold out D'Angelo Russell and not passing the ball and Nick Young sulk on the bench. What are you? That's not exciting to me. So I don't know why people are complaining. But we'll see. It will definitely be an end of the era. Go ahead, Corey.
I don't like Kobe Bryant. There's a lot of things I don't like, but I've never really respected Kobe Bryant. To me, he's never been a leader of the Lakers. He's been an intimidator, a bully for the Lakers. He's the man that drove out Shaq. I don't like Kobe Bryant. I can respect his talent because he is immensely talented, and a lot of what he did changed the game. But as a person, I think he's trash. He has never presented himself well. He's always been kind of a pouting, sulking, bullying figure. Anytime he's come out and spoke publicly.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be crazy to see him go, but it's also about time, and I won't miss him.
Yeah,
because there are better players who conduct themselves with more class.
Yeah, and that's the best for the Lakers, honestly. Joe, any thoughts on Kobe?
I said this about LeBron James recently, and that's at one point or another in a career, you go from hating someone to kind of appreciating what you're watching. And LeBron's kind of in that phase for me. Like, some people still hate him.
Yeah.
I don't, because I know that I'm witnessing something great.
Yeah.
And he's reached that moment for me. And Kobe hit that as well. There's a moment where you go, I'm watching arguably one of the greatest players of all time in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another moment that hits. And that's the moment where, it's like the buddy of yours that says, hey, man, you mind if I crash on your couch? And then
for 4 fucking seasons.
Yeah. For like 4 years.
It's like, hey, bro, you going to get a job? You going to help pay rent, dog?
Look, I got my this couch is all I got. There were moments where I would sit on the couch and I would watch stuff. I really miss that. You should you
I feel very Shaun of the Dead going on right now.
But that's the thing. It's like Kobe, in my opinion, he could put up 35. He could put up 35 probably 3 years from now if he wanted to.
Yeah.
But I think there's a moment where the greatness kind of goes away. Like, to me, when Allen Iverson played those 3 games in Memphis, like, come on, man. Come on, man. You were playing in Denver. Isn't that punishment enough?
Yeah.
Just go. And that's the thing. I think, and I get the athlete side of it, which is that I want to go out the way I want to go out. But I think there's a moment where it's just like, why put yourself through this?
Yeah.
It ain't going to be for the money, because you're making a crap ton of money anyway.
Right.
It's not for the pride, because you're not winning anything. You're not proving anything. And there's literally no reason to go through this season.
Yeah.
And then I gotta look at pictures of Kobe with his knees and his shoulders and his arms all taped up, like lights all over the place.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man.
Looking like an ice Gundam.
Yeah.
Seriously, just look. It's ridiculous. And I think I just wish he would have called it. Even last year was pushing it.
3 seasons ago.
3 seasons ago.
He's like watching, and this is what I'll end on. Watching Kobe the past 3 seasons is like, it's during an ice storm, and I live on the 3rd floor, so I have a nice window where I can look out, and I'm just watching someone walk down the sidewalk, and I constantly see them slip and fall, and then they just get to a point where they're just constantly slipping and they can't get up, ever. So, I mean, farewell to Kobe, and we wish him the best in whatever he does next, but it's been long overdue, very long overdue. So for Joe and Corey and myself, that's the sports section of the Game Set Match podcast.
Deuces, Kobe.
Till next week.
No, be on the show.
Yeah, right.
Come,
Yeah, maybe
come on by.
we can get Kobe.
We'll shoot hoops.
Maybe we
ask you some questions. You'll
Yeah.
talk about the Lakers next season. You'll tell us if D'Angelo Russell played you that video.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure he did. Kobe was
sure
like,
he
"Yeah, let me see that video, bro."
Let me see that.
Let me see that.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah. So, Joe, real quick, I'm
Yes.
not signed in the GSM.
Oh shit.
I didn't do it because I didn't know if.
I'm signed into GSM, but you're already. Oh, okay.
Right.
But because
I
it's
wasn't
your
sure.
episode, I can't send the invites. Okay.
Right. That's what I was saying. What I can do is I can stop right now. You can
And
just
then.
recreate the event, so you
Recreate
can
the
send the invites out.
Oh,
It's kind of messy.
You
It's
smart
kinda
as
messy.
hell.
But for the rundown, that way, if I leave, it's going to stop the broadcast.
It's good. Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
call.
That's
a good
why I
call.
was saying, do you want to switch?
Corey, do you want to take this show off or you want to stay?
Which one are we doing right now?
This will be games, and then the rundown will be afterwards.
How many people are we going to have on games?
Jared's going to be joining us, so it's going to be 5.
So 6 if
So
I'm in.
6 including
So a round table if I'm in.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to stop the live.
Okay.
stream right now.